Several years ago, my son, some other people from South Carolina, some people from Alabama, and some people from North Carolina got together and were going to compete with their brains. You've seen some of these competitions where people go and they study a science or math or whatever, and then they come together and then they mash a little button, and the first guy that hits the button might get 10 points, and the second guy, if the first guy misses, he gets 7.5, and the third guy, if the first two miss, he might get 5 points. Anyway, they had all studied for several months, and they had the first meet. When they came to the meet, all the kids got up there on the platform. They were ready. They started firing questions at them, and those guys started hitting buttons. Ran through the day. At the end of the day, they said, and the winning team is, and unfortunately, it wasn't our team. A few minutes of pause, and then they said, but the high scorer for the day is Tucker Burgess. We didn't even know there was going to be a high score for the day. Tucker went up to the podium, and they put a gold medal around his neck, and he was thrilled. Team hadn't won, but he was excited. After the meet, he went to the judges, and he said, is there going to be a gold medal given away at every competition? They said, yes. Tucker purposed in his heart right then he was going to win all three. Great. Next 2 or 3 months, they study, they memorize, they work. They're giving everything they've got for this competition. They meet. They're buzzing in. 10 points, 5 points, 3 points, and the competition goes back and forth, back and forth. End of the day. And the winning team is, it wasn't our team. But the high score for the day is Tucker Burgess. Tucker ran up there and got the second gold medal. But all good stories have a villain. Little wormy kid from Alabama, no kidding. Little runt, scrawny kid, big brains. Comes up and he says, I'm going to win the third medal. The challenge was on. Tucker went home the next 2 or 3 months. I mean, it was study, 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 work, 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 challenge. He was getting ready for the challenge. The competition was in Hendersonville, North Carolina. I'll never forget. It was a Saturday morning. We loaded up and got to Hendersonville that Saturday morning. All the kids were lined up there on the platform. Boo, 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 10 points, 5 points, 7 points, and they added up all the scores. And the winning team today is, and lo and behold, it was our team, and everybody cheered and clapped. But the Burgess people were all trying to get their breath. Long pause, a little more Italian. And they made an announcement. And the winner today is wormy kid from Alabama. Tucker immediately got up out of his chair, shot out the back of the room, went in the bathroom. My heart just went pooh for him. I went in the bathroom and did what any good daddy would do. Get out there, son, and congratulate that kid. Be a man. You know, don't be in here whining and sucking. Get out there. I stood in the bathroom cussing, kicking cans after he left, you know. Why did he work so hard and that little wormy runt kid from Alabama beat him? I was standing in the bathroom and a little kid came in about 5 minutes. He said, Tucker won. I said, oh, yeah, I know Tucker's team won, but Tucker really had his heart set on that gold medal. And Tucker didn't win the gold medal. And the guy said, no, Tucker won, Tucker won. I said, I know his team won, but he didn't win. He said, no, Tucker won the gold medal. I walked back out of the bathroom, down the hall, and I look out in the auditorium. And there was 2 kids in there bawling. Because someone in the crowd had actually tallied the 10s and the 7.5s and the 5.5s, went up and challenged the judges, and sure enough, when one kid had buzzed in first and had gotten 7 points, he was supposed to get 5.5 or 2.5, and they'd added wrong. Instead of Tucker losing by 5, he had won by 5. But there was 2 kids standing there that day with tears streaming down their face, and they were literally taking the trophy from the kid and giving it to Tucker. But here's what I realized that day. I would rather win or I'd rather lose with passion is to be lost in the middle. See, so a lot of them kids showed up at that tournament that day, and they wanted to play, but they really weren't interested in being a champion. They just were there. Now, every day when you and I get up, you can decide if you want to play the game or not. You come into work today, you did your thing. Did you come in today to win? And maybe you won victoriously, you lost victoriously, but was your heart in it? This is a customer service talk, but I want to share just a little thought out of this book. This book's tremendously about customer service. If you haven't read this, you need to. Inside the Magic Kingdom. It's a great little book, and he discusses 7 things that are necessary if you're going to win. And one of these 7 things he talks about at the end of this book is passion. he's actually been interviewing and discussing with 5 people at Disneyland how Disneyland works. And they get down to the end of the time there, and they've explained to them that, by the way, that there's not 500 or 600 custodians at Disneyland. There's 45,000 or 4,500. Everybody that works at Disneyland is a custodian, okay? From the president on down, if they see a piece of trash, they stop and pick it up. So as the story goes, there's 2 people sitting on a park bench. And as they're on the park bench, yeah, with you, Frank, they're on the park bench, and they're having this discussion about how many people are really custodians. And they see people going by with suits on and ties on, picking up trash and picking a cup up and throwing it in the trash. And a guy that's been there all week getting these lessons says, oh, everybody here is a custodian. And they said, well, is that why everybody's so passionate here? Why everybody's so excited? Everybody's got their heart into this thing. Anyway, when the people get up and walk away, the guy on the bench said, wow, I remember a talk I heard about passion. And I'd like to share this half a page with you right here. And I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. And so if you get this book, it won't be exactly like this. But he said one day he was out there working like crazy at practice. I mean, he had his heart into it. And he was just hitting everybody as hard as he could, tackling as hard as he could, running as hard as he could. But you know, some of the guys on the team were just kind of slack. They just didn't have the heart in it. He said, you know what, I think I'm just going to give 80% maybe. He said, no, I'm not. I'm going to keep my passion up. But he said, the problem was I was a second stringer. I really didn't get to play all that much. He said, I usually got in every game, but another guy was first string, but I just had my heart in the game. He said, finally the coach got over there and got up on the bleacher, and he called everybody over there to him, and he said, listen. He said, I am tired of seeing you guys work half-heartedly. He said, how many of you are interested in winning the ball game Friday night? All 41 of them raised their hand. We're all interested in winning the ball game Friday night. He said, interest is not enough. A lot of people are interested in a lot of things. I'm interested in winning the Boston Marathon. But you know what? I'm never going to win the Boston Marathon. I'm not committed to it. That's what it takes. It takes passion and it takes commitment. You guys are a long way from being passionate and committed. There's only one player that's going to start Friday night, and that's Jenkins, if I only have one player on the field. But I'll tell you one thing as the coach, I'm passionate about one thing. I'm going to find 11 guys who are passionate about playing Friday night. You know what? You can be interested in the ball game, but not passionate. You can be interested in your job, but not passionate. And for me, I would rather win with passion, or I would rather have my trophy taken away and lose with passion, is to play in the middle.